Hey guys, we are back with the next chapter in Paula Denziger's Remember Me to Harold Square. It starts with letters and postcards from Kendra Kay's friends who are in their various places around the world. So, the first one is, Dear Kendra, Paris is beautiful, but I'm so homesick I could die. Wish you were here right immediately. Terry. Dear Kendra, it's so boring here. The step-bro and sis are pains. I wish I was there. Love, Shannon. Dear Kendra, Camp Adirondack is fun. The kids are nice. I miss my sister. I miss the group. Right soon. Bye. Have to go swimming now. Love, Amma. Dear Kendra, Camp Catskill is fun. The kids are nice. I miss my sister. I miss the group. Right soon. Bye. Have to go swimming now. Love, Akasua. To Kendra, from Bethany, R.E., a major problem. Yesterday, my father's new production got a terrible review in the New York Times. Yesterday, the phone bill arrived. We're still wiping my father off the ceiling. Today, my long-distance phone calls have been limited to 2 a week, and they can't be our normal hour-long talks. We're going to have to start writing to each other. What a nightmare. Life can be so tragic sometimes. It's a shame that the New York Times doesn't publish parent reviews by kids. Frantically yours, Bethany. Reading each letter twice, I really miss the group. I wonder how Bonnie is doing. Something tells me that she's not going to be much of a letter writer. OK comes into the kitchen. You know the letter that Frank just got? The one that stinks of perfume? I nod, very curious, but try to act as if I'm not. What about it? Well, he's in the bedroom and asked to be left alone while he reads it. Oh, I say. OK continues. I asked him what the big SWAK means. That's when he asked for privacy. Was he mean when he said it? This is the 7th day of the scavenger hunt, and I still don't have Frank figured out. That shouldn't surprise me because I already know that I'm not at my best when it comes to figuring out what goes on in boys' minds. Not mean. OK takes a cold piece of pizza out of the refrigerator, just like he wanted to be alone. So what does SWAK mean? She was a kangaroo? Stuck with a Kendra? Sealed with a kiss, you little twerp, I explain. Oh. He makes the 2 letters sound like a very long word. I bet that Frank's got a girlfriend. One who uses cheap perfume, I add. Kendra's jealous, OK sings. Shut up and go away. I want to answer these letters, I tell him. Leave me alone. I can't even stay in my own bedroom. Look, we're done for the day. I'm going upstairs to play with Ralph. He leaves, and I think of how lucky he is to have someone his own age in the building. There are 20 floors in the building and at least 10 apartments on each floor. You'd think that there would be someone else my age in the building, but there isn't. Wasn't before Frank moved in. I start answering the letters that I've just gotten. It's a proven fact that if you don't write back to people, they won't write to you again. Writing the first letter, I realize that it will take forever to tell each friend all of the stuff that the Serendipities have done for the past 7 days. Then it comes to me. All I have to do is send each of them a copy of the computer printout of the log that we've been keeping. I rush to the printer, run off 6 copies, and reread one of them. We really have done so much. Serendipity log, day 1. Parents, the K's, heretofore referred to as the K's, the letter K, drive Serendipities all over the city on Sunday. Special stops on Lower East Side, Chinatown. 8 knishes at Yona Schimmel. 8 salami, pastrami, corned beef sandwiches at Katz. This city is amazing. Frank Lee, FL. Can I help it if I get car sick? Oscar K. OK. Why do I always have to sit next to OK in cars? It's not fair. Kendra K. KK. Day 2. New York Public Library. To get facts. Guinness World Records Exhibit Hall in the Empire State Building. Hamburgers at the Automat. The main branch of the New York Public Library is absolutely awesome. No lies. 2 lions. KK. The tallest man who ever lived was Robert Wadlow at 8 feet, 11.1 inches. My school basketball team could have really used him, FL. Can I help it if heights make me sick? OK. Day 3, museums. Note, on Tuesday nights they are free. Museum of Modern Art, American Craft Museum. We ate food sold by street vendors, and then for dinner we ate Indian food, the kind with curry. I loved the museums, KK. I loved lunch, OK. I can't believe how many kinds of food are sold on the street. This is what they must mean by a la carte, FL. Day 4, Museum of Holography, St. Patrick's Cathedral. Tickets, Broadway at 47th Street, where you can buy tickets to a lot of shows for half price, but you have to stand in a long line. We got tickets to a chorus line, pizza. Holography means whole message, 3D with lasers. Maybe someday I'll be a holographer, OK. A chorus line was terrific, KK. New York was amazing. I wish it were closer to Wisconsin, FL. Day 5, Radio City Music Hall, The Rockettes, a movie, Rockefeller Center. This place is definitely not like Cinema 3 at our mall, FL. What's a mall? Just kidding, we go to them sometimes in New Jersey. I thought that watching the Rockettes was a real kick. KK. I like the popcorn. Okay. Day 6, Metropolitan Museum of Art. This place is so terrific. KK. Incredible. FL. I agree. Okay. Day 7, the K's go with us. Statue of Liberty, American Museum of Immigration, located at base of statue, Ellis Island. Dinner, pasta at Bazzini's restaurant. A great day. The ferry boat ride was fun. We learned a lot, but it was fun anyway. KK. I agree. FL. I wonder if the Statue of Liberty uses underarm deodorant. Okay. Frank walks into the kitchen. Looking up, I smile and say, hi. What I really want to say is, so what's in the letter? Who wrote it to you? Does she really wear that perfume, or does she use it as bathroom freshener? Is she pretty? Do you like her better than you like me? I say none of those things, however. Frank nods hello, walks to the refrigerator, opens it up, and looks for something, which he doesn't seem able to find. He starts to walk around the room looking at cabinets. My mother told him to feel at home in the kitchen. Obviously, he does. Are you looking for something special? Maybe I know where it is, I offer. He shakes his head. I don't think that what I'm looking for is going to be that easily found. I figure out that he's not really looking for anything, that he's just doing something to be doing something. Anything. When I get upset, I act like that, but I didn't think anyone else did. As he paces around the room, I realize that this is the first time that we've been alone. For 7 days, the three of us have been serendipities together. When I don't know what to say, sometimes I chatter. This is one of those times. So the summer's going to be fun, huh? We'll even get to go to the TV studio to watch All My Children being taped. It's really lucky that Dee, who lives in this building, is a lighting director on the show, and that she's so nice and is getting us passes and giving us the tour. And then we can walk over to Lincoln Center, which is just around the corner from the studio, and then maybe we'll get the dreaded sushi meal over with. So what do you think? Kendra, Frank says, have you ever been in love? Really in love? I guess that when you ask Frank what he thinks, you've got to be prepared to hear what he's really thinking. I want to seem sophisticated, really sure of myself, a woman of the world, because sometimes I feel like such a kid around Frank. Yes, I say, and think of Jeremy. Actually, no. I've been in strong like, but not in real love. He starts to say something and we hear the door open. It's too noisy to be parents. Okay and Ralph come in and head immediately for the refrigerator. Our refrigerator is a giant magnet that draws people to it. Bad timing for the kids to show up right now. Actually, OK is known for his bad timing. He should have been born in the next century so that I wouldn't have to deal with him. Let's go for a walk, I look at Frank. OK turns around. Sure. No, I say firmly, just Frank and me. OK falls to the ground. Life is unfair. Alas, alack, woe is us. Frank steps over his body. Let's go. We leave the apartment and go down in the elevator. I'm dying to find out what Frank was going to say, but the elevator man starts talking. So what do you think of those Mets? Aren't they the greatest? Have you had a chance to go over to Shea Stadium yet and see them play? Joe, I sigh. Frank just got here a little while ago. And anyway, not everyone is interested in silly baseball game. Silly, Joe says. Kendra, how can you say that? I like baseball, Frank says. You know, there were no sports things on the scavenger list. As we leave the building, I say, that's because my family's idea of physical exercise is turning the pages of a book. My mother is also in the Worry Olympics. That burns a lot of calories. Walking down the street silently, I want Frank to start talking personally, but I'm not sure how to get him started again. We pass a bag lady who has all of her belongings in a grocery cart. Talking to herself, she's searching through a garbage can. It's really sad, people like that, Frank says. I nod. In New York City, there are a lot of homeless people. It gets so that I don't even notice them, which is so awful to say. Now that Frank's here, I see them differently, through his eyes, then through my own eyes and my own heart. It is so sad. My family always contributes to charity to help the homeless. Lately, I've been thinking about doing something on my own to help people out in the city. When school starts again, I'll be a volunteer tutor in one of the special programs in my neighborhood, as long as I don't have to help with math. I'm beginning to realize how much I get from the city, and now I want to give something back. As we cross the street to go to Central Park, Frank points at a stretch limo. That's the longest, biggest car I've ever seen. I glance at it. Limos are another thing I hardly ever notice in New York City. It's a strange city, with so much richness and so much poverty. Frank says, you know, back home I never saw a limo. There are some big expensive cars, yes, but not something like that with a chauffeur. But then, back home I see a lot of tractors and I haven't seen one here. I've never ever seen a tractor, not in person, I say. We walk into the park. Frank says, sometimes I feel like I've been dropped onto another planet. You'd feel that way too if you came to visit our farm. It's so different. He gets quiet again. Let's go over there. I point to an empty space under a tree. He nods and we sit down. There's quiet again. There used to be a lot of quiet times with Jeremy. However, I never had the feeling that very much was going on in his brain when he was silent. With Frank, I get the feeling that there are layers and levels. I pick a blade of grass. Finally, Frank speaks. Look, I don't know where to begin or what I want to say. This really isn't easy for me. Back home, I don't have the kind of friends that I tell personal things to, so I guess I just have to start. So here goes. He takes a deep breath. A lot has happened this year. Actually, some of it's been going on for a long time. For years, my parents didn't get along. I knew they were heading for a divorce. In some ways, I hated it. Other times, I hoped for it. They'd fight over keeping the farm. Dad really loves it, but Mom wants to live in a big city. And even though they've both inherited a lot of money, the farm is becoming a drain. Frank seems far away for a minute, and then he goes on. Believe it or not, it gets worse. About a year ago, the doctors told my father that he had cancer. So over the past year, he's been fighting that, going to hospitals, getting chemotherapy. My mother really helped him, stayed with him at the hospital. Now they think that maybe he has it licked, and my parents want to get away and relax. Mom said that they want to rekindle the romance in their marriage. He makes a face. Sometimes I think that's going to take an arsonist. He smiles and then gets serious again. During that whole time, I was left alone a lot. They took all those trips to the hospital. There was this guy who was sort of a house sitter, but he really took care of the farm and mostly left me alone. It was good because I got involved with someone and liked not being checked up on. Mary Alice is her name. The one who writes SWAK all over her envelopes and pours tacky cheap perfume on them, I think, tearing a blade of grass into tiny strips. Continuing, he says, Mary Alice is 3 years older. She just graduated from high school and we got really close last year. I didn't feel so alone after we started going out. She's someone you can talk to and she listens, like you do, Kendra, and she's very mature. While he goes on about how nice and pretty and wonderful she is, I try to sort out what I'm feeling. Jealous, maybe. Curious, yes. What did they do together? Hearing about Frank's older woman makes me feel like a kid. Frank says, anyway, when the doctors told my father that he was all right, my parents came back and saw how serious it was between Mary Alice and me. They wanted it to end. They said that she was too old, too experienced, and that I was just a kid. They weren't around much for a year, and then they thought they could come back and run my life. There was a lot of fighting all the time. Finally, my mother took me aside and said that the fighting was upsetting my father too much, and she was afraid it would make him sick again. And I thought my mother gave guilt trips. He looks very sad. They said I should go to Europe with them, that they wouldn't leave me behind, and that they wouldn't go if I stayed there. They said that they really needed the vacation. I didn't know what to do, you know. I'm only 15, and that's not old enough to quit school and get a job, and I know that would be dumb to do. Running away wouldn't help either. Mary Alice thought I could come live at her house, but her parents didn't like that idea. I think about how much Frank's been through, what a survivor he is, and also about how sad he is, and wonder what I can do to help him. So he says, we decided that I would stay in New York while they're in Europe, and then when we go back, we'll see what happens. They think the problem is going to vanish, but I still love Mary Alice, so the problem's not going to vanish. He looks sad and angry. I had to give in on this. What if my father dies? They're not sure that this isn't just remission, a break, and I wanted him and Mom to have a chance to try to be happy. I thought that if I'm reasonable, then when they come back, maybe they'll be reasonable too. Frank just sits quietly looking down at the ground. Who would have thought that someone so cute with so much going for him would have so many problems? I really do have to remember not to judge people so much on surface stuff. My parents are always telling me that. I also think that I have to give up any thoughts that maybe Frank and I will become boyfriend and girlfriend. Something tells me that this is the time to be his friend. I think he really needs one. All right, we'll be back in a couple of days to see what happens on the next step of their adventure. Talk to you guys later. Bye.